Money on my mind, looking for a dime. James Locke in the house, gonna help you shine.
Welcome to the Poole Locke YouTube channel. I'm James Locke. Today we're going to answer some of the Ask James questions of the day. The first question comes from a person with a great name, James. I love it. James asks us, I'm retiring in about a year or so. What types of income generating investments should I look towards? It's a great question. Here's the interesting thing. Most of the instruments that you've heard of already and you're familiar with, right? They're all the same, but you're just going to be buying them in an I way and not as much as a G way, or at least we're going to be income first focused, right? It doesn't mean that you have to give up on growth or lose growth potential. It just means that you're going to become more of an income first, growth second investor. Think about it, stocks, right? You can buy growth stocks that don't pay any dividend, that don't pay any income, just like you can buy a speculative real estate property, right? Or you can buy rental property where it's an income first kind of growth second approach. In the stock market, that means you could buy dividend stocks, right? And not just any dividend stocks, but specifically those with a history of consistent payouts and increases over time. We often call those kind of stocks dividend aristocrats. So you can buy growth stocks or dividend stocks. In the bond market, James, you can buy zero coupon bonds that you buy low and go up in value, or you can buy regular bonds that pay an interest payment to you. Pretty much everything in the financial world that you could think of can be done in a G way or an I way. Heck, you can even engineer commodities to generate income. Now that's a little beyond kind of our conversation today on this show, but even Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, right, can be generally thought of as a G, a growth tool, but as you know, you can stake your Bitcoin and get income from it, right? So the same goes for other cryptocurrency investments, though you need to be careful, of course, about the risks there, right? But James, these are tools that you're familiar with. Stocks and bonds and bond-like instruments. Now, I'm not here to invent new investments or new tools, but all of a sudden you look at these tools differently. Just like you can buy a car to get from point A to B, but you can look at an SUV or a minivan, or you can look at a sports car, all different kinds. One is the money, but one is performance first and practicality second, where the other one, the former was more practical first, maybe performance second. The key is finding the right balance for your specific situation. How much income you need now versus how much growth you want to maintain for the future. So again, all the same things you're accustomed to. Now all of a sudden, you're just looking at them through a different set of lenses, with income generation as your primary focus. So a little bit different. So hey, thanks for that great question. And if you have a question like James, you can always send it to us. You can email it to poollocke@poollocke.com. Moving on to our second question. This is from Edward. He says, I'm retiring in a few years, and I'm moving my 401k money to bond funds. Is this a good option? So it might be an improvement if you're trying to lower your risk, and I really guess it depends, right? You see, bond funds are different from a diversified portfolio of individual bonds because they lack those two guarantees that individual bonds have. And I know, people talk about, mutual funds are more diversified, and that's good. But I'm assuming that you're not buying just one individual bond. I'm assuming you're investing in a diversified portfolio of individual bonds. So why do bond funds lack those two guarantees? Well, first of all, bond funds, as I'm sure you're aware, don't pay a fixed interest payment. The interest payment can and will fluctuate. And this fluctuation can be particularly concerning in retirement when you're counting on that steady income stream. So if you think interest rates are going down and you want to lock in today's higher interest rates, a diversified portfolio of individual bonds can do that. Bond funds cannot. Second of all, a bond mutual fund doesn't mature. There's no fixed maturity data that exists, right? And therefore, there's no fixed maturity data, so which guarantees you to pay back all that principal, which means that those two guarantees that make individual bonds so attractive to retirees, those guarantees are off the table when it comes to bond mutual funds. In fact, if you were to study to become a financial advisor and you were to look at the definition of a bond mutual fund, you'd quickly read that the definition of a bond mutual fund, at least so say the regulators, right, is the stock of a company that owns bonds. It even sounds riskier. Again, you're not buying the bonds. You're buying the stock of a company that owns bonds. Think about that for a moment. You're essentially one step removed from the actual bonds themselves. So if you are doing this because, this 401k money, you're now 59 and a half, so you can't actually buy the bonds, well, do an IRA rollover. Maybe your money's trapped in the 401k. Okay, that might be your only option, right? And it might be an improvement because you're lowering your risk compared to stock funds and you're increasing your income. So generally speaking, so it might be a good move, but you might be doing it, because you're limited, But if you're in a 401k and you're over 59 and a half years old, or this is IRA money, well, then I would encourage you to look at diversified portfolios of individual bond investments, instead of those bond mutual funds. The key here is understanding that while bond funds might seem like the simpler option, they might not provide the kind of predictable, steady income stream that many retirees are looking for in their fixed income investments. So there you go. Thanks for that great question. It's never as simple as it is, but if you would like to kind of have your question answered, you can send it to us. Send it to poollock@poollock.com. If you like what you heard today, go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel. I'm James Locke, your retirement income source. See you next time.
Money on my mind, looking for a dime. James Locke in the house, gonna help you shine. Retirement is near, don't you live in fear. Listen up, my friend, let me make it clear. Savings in the bank.